Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be previewing the Golden State Warriors Memphis Grizzlies play-in tournament game as the Warriors and the Grizzlies will play each other for the 7th seed in the Western Conference. And so this will be a very interesting matchup. Game will be in San Francisco. Warriors will be at home for this one, and we'll see who can come out on top. Now, we're going to go over injury report to start off. The Warriors have a very important injury. Game time decisions. Moses Moody, that could be a key factor. He's a starter. He's been a starter for this Warriors team. That will be interesting to see if he plays or not. He's got a back injury. Memphis on the other end. You've got guys like Brandon Clark and Jalen Wells who are out for the season. Jalen Wells had that freak injury to end the season, so you are missing guys like that. And so they'll be tough. But, they played their last couple of the games of the season without those guys. But I think this should be a fun one. Steph against Memphis had, I think both teams at some point against each other this year had killer performances against each other. You had the Steph 52-point performance where he dominated Memphis, and then you had the game where Memphis absolutely killed Golden State, beat them by 52. And look, I think Jimmy Butler makes this Warriors team a really better. They make them a better team. And I get, Jimmy Butler makes an impact. But it seems so silly to say, oh, well, they didn't have Jimmy Butler when they lost by 52 points. Like, in that was such a bad game for the Warriors. Stephen Curry played so terrible. Honestly, I don't think there would have been much of it. Like, Jimmy would have made it better. I don't think it would have been as bad as it was if there was a Jimmy. But that was a game where Memphis was feeling it, and they were killing it from three. And when Steph is struggling like that, it's not very good at all. Even if Jimmy had a game like he had to finish the season, like his last game of the season had 28 points, was one of his highest scores games as a Warrior. Even if you include, like, if he had 28 or 30, the Warriors still lose by 20 plus in that game. So what I am saying is that at one point this season, both clubs had an amazing performance against each other. With Steph's 52 towards the end of the season and Memphis's 50-point win in the beginning of the season. And so I think that makes it a very intriguing matchup. But it's going to be interesting. You got Ja, who was really hot towards the end of the season. You got Steph, who was really hot towards the end of the season. Butler had the game. He had to finish the season with 28 and 8. That will be interesting. And so, But I'm really excited to see what will happen in this one. Whoever wins plays the Rockets. That's not a fun matchup for either one of these teams. I think it'd be easy. Look, I think the Warriors have a shot if they're going up against the Rockets. I look at Memphis and I don't really see them having a shot. That's just my opinion. I might be biased since I am a Rockets fan, but the Rockets went 3-1 against Memphis during the regular season, and one of those losses was without Alperen Şengün. So that is a huge factor. I would be pretty confident in the Rockets' chances going up against the Grizzlies. Now, the Warriors a little bit different. I think the Warriors, there are a lot of people that go with the Warriors over the Rockets. Like, I saw one guy on ESPN say the Rockets are vulnerable. How are the Rockets vulnerable? They're one of the best defensive teams in basketball. And I think probably play some of the best team basketball in the NBA. So I don't know how you would say the Rockets are vulnerable. Do the Warriors have great chances against the Rockets? Sure, they might. Do you have a great chance when you got guys like Steph and Jimmy who are amazing playoff performers? Sure, but the Rockets are not vulnerable. That is crazy to say. I think that, honestly, whoever the Rockets end up playing tonight, whether it's Memphis or Golden State, it is down to be a really good series regardless of who they face. So that should be an interesting season. It should be an interesting series regardless. And so I'm really excited to see who wins tonight. But here's the honestly thing I'll say with Golden State. You got a tough matchup if you do face the Rockets. If you win tonight, you face the Rockets. You got a tough matchup facing the double big lineup of Alperen Şengün and Steven Adams that the Rockets have been running since February, March. And something that was trouble for them in their last matchup against the Rockets. That's something the Rockets played the Warriors five times during the regular season, and the four first matchups the Rockets did not use the double big lineup of Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams, which has been dominant. And they did use that in the last game, and both Steven Adams and Alperen Sengun had killer games for the Rockets. And then also you have this tragedy of the way they defended Steph the last game. So that could be trouble for the Warriors. But also you look at the other end of if you lose this game and then you face Dallas or you face Sacramento, then if you win that game, which I do think if you face Dallas or Sacramento, Golden State would 100% win, and then you face the Thunder, then you're having to deal with another double big lineup, which is even scarier than Sengun and Adams with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. Because you're gonna see Hartenstein. Sure, Adams and Sengun, they're on the floor with each other a lot, but not as much as Hartenstein and Hartenstein and Chet are. You see Sengun start, Adams come off the bench, and then eventually they're on the floor together. Hartenstein and Chet start together in the same starting lineup. So that would be a tough matchup for Golden State. But the one thing I will say that I think would be interesting that I am rooting for, this is the one thing I am rooting for. And I think NBA ratings would be up if this happened. So I think if you're the NBA, you want this to happen, is for the Warriors to lose tonight and the Mavericks to win tomorrow. And I think a lot of people would be intrigued about this. Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry fighting against each other for the last playoff spot. That would be interesting. And especially, the game would be in San Francisco. Golden State and Dallas. So, that would be the last game of the play-in, Golden State and Dallas. And that would mean whoever wins that, that would be the last play-in game. That would be the last playoff spot. So that would mean the last playoff spot would be fought between Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry. You know how interesting that would be with, all the years they played with each other. Whoever wins that game gets the final playoff spot. I'm not even looking at this as a Rockets fan. I'm looking at this in the way I want to see Klay Thompson versus Stephen Curry for the final playoff spot. And I think a lot of people would be intrigued in that matchup, Steph versus Klay. That would be potentially Friday. But, I really am excited for this game tonight. I think Steph kills it tonight. I think Ja goes out there and has a great game too as well. I think both guys are going to kill it tonight, and I think it's going to be a very intriguing matchup. We'll see who comes on top, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.